Welcome to the 2018 edition of Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. And boy, is it crappy weather here in Tampa. Wow. Horrible.
It is terrible.
Listen to us complain. We're not accustomed to this kind of stuff around here. If it gets just a little colder, it could snow. It snowed back in the 70s, I believe, was the last time it snowed. I remember that day. 77. Stephen whispers in my ear. I hope you're having a good day, and wherever you are and whatever you may be doing while you listening or listen to or watch this show, we are coast to coast and we are global. We appreciate your listenership. And 2018 we're off and running. So, and have a number of things planned for the show this year. We're going to continue to grow it, continue to introduce more production elements, technological elements to make it more entertaining and more apprehendable for people. We are trying to connect as much as we can, wherever and however we can. The platform is pretty big these days. It took 12 years. It'll be 13 years in May. And thanks to you. So we're coming along. We just have a lot. There's room for improvement. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what you need to keep in mind. And that's what I need to keep in mind as we move forward into 2018 now, as we're in it. And looking for those small wins. And yesterday I talked about New Year's resolutions. It's going to come up here in this first portion of the show again. And Neil Levin is my guest in the second half. He's always a good guest. And I was thinking about after the show yesterday that I wanted to make sure that we understood that I think, and I'm going to give you some statistics about New Year's resolutions and the failure rate. For example, there was a longitudinal study of New Year's change attempts, people trying to change things. And what they found in the study was a study by Norcross. And he found that 70% of resolution makers keep their pledges for,
I would say 2 months.
1 week.
What? Really? 1 week?
1 week. But only 19% kept their resolutions for 2 years.
I'm just saying, yes, there's going to be an empty gym next Monday.
In another study, Norcross reported a steady decline in keeping New Year's resolutions with a 70% success rate after 2 weeks, 66% rate after 2 weeks, 60% success rate after 3 weeks, 55% success rate after 4 weeks, and 43% success rate after 3 months. And then it drops down to 40% success rate in keeping New Year's resolutions after 6 months. In another study, Norcross reported similar findings with a 75% success rate after the first week, 71% after 2 weeks, 64% after a month, and 46% success rate after 6 months. So they're hard to keep, and for a lot of different reasons. And people make it more difficult than it needs to be. They do things incorrectly in making the resolutions. I talked about that yesterday. So it seems that in a real sense, motivation gives way to what? Procrastination when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Here's one that was reported by a Gallup survey I found. They focused on weight loss, and they found that 51% of adults in the study reported wanting to lose weight. Okay? 51%. But guess what? 25% indicated that they were serious, but only 25% indicated that they were seriously making any necessary effort to accomplish that goal. 51% said, yes, I want to lose weight. And of that, 25% weren't doing anything about it. What's that old saying? Talk is what?
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. Hence, there appears to be a real discrepancy between desire and doing relative to weight loss or to anything in life. People have a lot of ambition and desire to do it, which is important, but the actual doing, well, that's another matter. And I believe this is the case when it comes to New Year's resolutions. There may be lots of desire, motivation, but little doing, procrastination, in other words, in achieving New Year's resolutions. What accounts for this motivation procrastination paradox perplexes more than a few experts. It really does. This carries over, though, not just from New Year's resolution. This carries over into other realms. Well, the resolutions are goals, right, that really involve other dimensions of people's lives, many dimensions. Corporate America has spent tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to figure out how to motivate employees. All right? They find that many employees, for example, they're motivated. They want to do the right thing. They have the desire. But they don't, procrastination sets in. They don't follow through. And with people's health, people have great intentions. The old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, it is. The road to ill health is really paved with good intentions. The road to ill health is paved with good intentions. I've watched it my entire life as a professional in this space of health, wellness, and well-being. And people, it's so frustrating. And when you have clients, they show up and they want to do the right thing, and they're well-intentioned. They have the know-how. They have the willpower. But it's not just about willpower. There's so many other variables that impinge upon whether or not you're going to succeed at your health goals. Context is everything. For example, with the person or persons with whom you are living, what are their habits? What are their attitudes, values, and beliefs about health, wellness, and well-being? Are you a saint among sinners, so to speak, or a sinner among saints? Make no mistake, the people around you influence you. I reported on studies, the people with whom you go to a restaurant with will influence what you order on the darn menu, for heaven's sake.
That is true.
No doubt. Food labs from Cornell University did that study, if my memory serves me. And where you live, believe it or not, where you live makes a difference. When I come back, I'm going to report on the rankings of the cities with the best and worst active lifestyles or lifestyle. You're going to be surprised to find out who number one is. You'll never guess.
At Country Life Vitamins, we've been helping people live happy, healthy lives since 1971, and we believe in tech.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Figures Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Welcome back. Welcome to the 2018 edition of Let's Talk Nutrition, talking about our goals, our health goals, our life goals, our New Year's resolutions, which really are goals, and what contributes to their success or failure. I gave you some statistics on the failure rate just a moment ago on New Year's resolutions, how it drops off dramatically just in a short period of time. The amount of success that people keeping their New Year's resolutions. But we can extrapolate, we can extrapolate this out a little further into other, so to speak, or expand it out into other contexts. It's not just New Year's resolutions. It's trying to, where you have motivation versus procrastination. And that's what happens. The procrastination seems to prevail over the motivation in the long run, it seems. There are a lot of reasons for that. One is context. It's a big variable. Context means where you live, with whom you live. You know, as I said, you could be a saint among sinners or a sinner among saints. If you have horrible nutritional and lifestyle habits, and you happen to be with a group of people or live with a group of people or have a new partner or a partner who is more health conscious, that person could have an influence on you, or vice versa, or the other way around. You start seeing someone become involved with someone who just eats horribly and terrible lifestyle, that can rub off as well. It also turns out where you live makes a difference too. You're saying, no. Yes, it does. There's a concept called built environments. Just give me a moment to lay some foundation here. This will make sense. This is really an important point. It's underrated. Built environments are the places built or designed by humans that would include what? Buildings, grounds around the buildings, the layout of communities, transportation infrastructure, parks and trails, availability, sidewalks, availability to grocery stores and health-related stores. There are some places in major metropolitan cities where there are no grocery stores. I've mentioned those. Those are called food deserts. You'll find gun shops, pawn shops, porn shops, and any other kind of shop, but you won't find a food shop of any consequence. It's dreadful. And people have to travel miles to get to a grocery store. And some of them don't have any transportation other than public transportation, and that's no fun. So context means everything. This leads me to this new study that came over the transom this morning. It's a bit entertaining, and here's a quiz. Stephen is usually masterful at this. I'll see if he can get this one. So, Stephen, there was this survey. They did this study, and they were trying to rank the 2018's best and worst cities for an active lifestyle. If you had to guess, what city do you think was number one?
Number one as in worst or best?
Best.
Best.
I know that's I mean, there's a gazillion cities, but
and a bunch of different factors involved. I don't know. For some reason, I want to say the weather. I don't know.
No.
Seattle.
Go with what was the first thing that came to your mind?
It was Seattle.
Okay.
I was thinking but the weather. I was trying to think of a city.
You're good, Stephen. That's number 5.
Oh, there you go. And I was thinking New York would be something around the worst.
Number 7.
Oh, okay. It's because the hustle and bustle and
I thought
to get around.
I thought the weather was going to be a factor too.
And public transportation's all over the place. People don't. Yeah.
Well, but there's a lot of little parks in New York though too. There's a lot of ballparks and tennis courts and
right.
I know like in South Manhattan there's the Trinity Park and stuff like that.
Sure. The number 1 best city for active lifestyle, Chicago. Chicago. Where the winter in Chicago, I mean, that's almost like that's punishment. I've been to Chicago in the winter, and boy, it is tough. Portland was number 2. Check this out. Notice these are cold places to live. Chicago was 1. Portland was 2. San Francisco was 3. San Diego, not so cold. Number 4, Seattle was 5. Madison, Wisconsin came in at number 6 as among the best cities for active lifestyle. New York was 7. Denver was 8. Boise, Idaho. Boise was number 9. Minneapolis, Minnesota was number 10. Washington, D.C. was number 11, and so on. For those of you who live in Tampa, it was number 20th. It was 20th. On the active lifestyle ratings. The worst city in the United States for an active lifestyle, and I lived near there when I lived in Miami. Hialeah was 100th in the ranking. Worst city for active lifestyle. When we come back, I'm going to share more with you. Where you live influences how active you may be, because where you live may have the built environment to accommodate your motivation to want to be physically active. You're thinking Boise, Idaho. It's brutal there in the wintertime. But apparently, they must be doing something to compensate for that, and get people moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. 2018, keep moving.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Sometimes people fail at their health goals in ways that they're not about which they're not even aware. I'll explain. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition 2018 edition. Where you live can make a difference as to, for example, you're going to keep your New Year's resolution of being more physically active, you're going to exercise more, and so on. But what if you live in a place where the built environment doesn't lend itself to that? And in this one study I was looking at, they identified different domains of people's lives: their physical activity domain, their social cultural environment, the built environment, the policy environment. It could be, for example, in the built environment, you don't have a lot of parks and trails. Access to them, the design, if they have them, isn't very good maybe, or the quality isn't that good, or they're great. Quality's great, design is perfect, and access is wonderful. Private recreation facilities. How many of those do you have in your locale or in your city? Pedestrian and bike facilities. How many of those are around your neighborhood or in your neck of the woods? Trees and aesthetics. What does that have to do? Well, if it's nice outside, you go outside. If it's lovely to look at, you want to be among nature.
You know, they built a real nice pathway on 301 up in Pasco. And the problem is they didn't create any parking.
So how are people going to get there, right? And then when they get there, what do they do with their vehicle?
Yeah.
No thinking.
It's no forward, but yet there's no sidewalk to walk to the high school. I mean, it's like, wow.
What are the kids are supposed to do? Walk on the highways.
Yep.
What about, is it a walkable community? To Gary's point, do they have design, density, connected streets, mixed land uses, access to transportation? In other words, is it a walkable, livable community? How about pedestrian and bicycle facilities? Do you have access to those? Are you connected to that? Building design. Do they have stairways in the building, parking and whatnot for people to walk up and down? Location of workplace and school. Sometimes the kids I used to walk to school. Most kids are bused because it's so far away.
Uphill both ways in the snow.
Well, yeah. I mean, from my house to my grade school was about, I'd say, 2 miles.
Yeah, I rode my bike. It was about 2 miles.
And I would usually, I would ride, sometimes I'd ride my Shelby bike with the shock absorbers in the front. Yeah. So that built environment makes a difference. Chicago was the number one rated city for active lifestyle. It's brutally cold right there right now. I don't know what the ambient temperature is in Chicago right now. I know it's not warm. It's got to be cold. It's got to be off the chain. Check it. Just check me.
15 degrees Fahrenheit.
Thank you very much. There's nobody out there jogging today, I can assure you.
With snow showers.
Exactly. So how is it that they got number one? The built environment. It accommodates people in such a way that they can stay physically active. And how did Hialeah end up 100th on the active lifestyle list? I lived near Hialeah when I lived in Miami. Not far, not all that far. And I can understand why it's ranked 100th. Tampa's 20th on the list for best and worst cities for active lifestyle. Boise, Idaho was number 9. What's going on in Boise that people are they're active? Orlando was 15th. It's a warm place to live. Tucson, Arizona, warm, was ranked 24th on active lifestyle. There's an observation. I looked at the bottom 10 rankings. The bottom 10. Check this out. Santa Ana, California, I'm shocked, was 90th. Jersey City, New Jersey, and then Memphis, Tennessee was 92nd. Now, Memphis, Garland, Texas, Laredo, Texas, Arlington, Texas were 93rd, 94th, and 95th in the rankings. Irving, Texas was 98th. What's going on in Texas? In those cities, I'll guarantee you, and I don't know them at all, but I'm going to, based on my research, based on what I know about built environments, I will bet you that the built environments for those cities do not lend themselves to people being physically active. I'll go out on a limb. I usually don't do that without checking first. But what would explain that?
Well, there's at least 10 gyms within a 6-mile radius of each other in Boise, Idaho. I just Googled it. I just looked.
All right, there you go. See? There you go. 6 gyms within a 10-mile radius. Here, check this out. New York was, what did I say it was? New York was 7th. Here's why. It has the most playgrounds per square foot of population, which is 17.4 times more than in Hialeah, Florida. Yeah. San Francisco has the highest number of dance schools per square foot of population. Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places, has the most fitness trainers and aerobics instructors per 100,000 residents. This is the things you learn on this show. I mean, it's remarkable. Context is everything. Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where all those men wearing funny pants live. Who play what? Golf. Who play golf. They have the most public golf courses per square foot of population. 37 times more than in Cleveland. New York has the most sporting goods stores. Yeah. You get my point. Best cities for active lifestyle in this order, 1 to 10. Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle, Madison, New York, Denver, Boise, and Minneapolis. Worst cities, starting with 91st. Jersey City, New Jersey, Memphis, Garland, Texas, Laredo, Texas, Arlington, Texas, Newark, New Jersey, Bakersfield, California. I've been to Bakersfield. I see the why. Irving, Texas, North Las Vegas was 99th. And coming up at the last spot, stay out of Hialeah.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
to Let's Talk Nutrition. Where you live makes a difference. Yesterday, I talked about principles to follow in keeping your New Year's resolutions, but it's not just your New Year's resolutions. It's any of your goals in life. You have to have a commitment. You have to be confident. You must properly, you have to frame the resolutions or the goals properly, is the way I talked about it. You have to reinforce those resolutions with objectives, the tactics to carry out those resolutions or goals. And then another principle is to monitor your progress, your success and failure. All of those principles are based on science. I wrote an article, and you can find it on my website, Effective and Proven Ways to Help Keep New Year's Resolutions. Making a commitment is huge. You got to commit. I got Gary on the hook here for 50 pounds for his New Year's resolutions. He wants to lose, not just lose weight, that's too loosely framed. More specifically, he wants to lose 50 pounds over the next year at a rate of about 1 pound per week. Now, I'm going to be all over him about that. He lost 47 pounds last year. So we got to step it up a little bit, and I'm going to introduce some changes to him with him. He doesn't know it yet. In his relationship with food. So he came over to the house later in the afternoon yesterday, and I'd given him a plant-based meal that I prepared on New Year's Eve. I put it together on the fly. I don't even know what I just took whatever I had in the refrigerator and put it together. What did you think?
It was good. It was good. It was tasty. It was a little spice to it. It was warming, but it was more. It was.
It wasn't a soup and it wasn't a stew.
No, it was in between.
It was in between, right?
And I couldn't figure out what I was eating. You're like, it's apples, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I even put some apples in there. There were cruciferous vegetables, beans, green beans. I put 3 different kinds of beans in there: cannellini beans, Great Northern beans, and some pinto beans, I believe, and then some green beans. That's 4. Carrots. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I had different spices, and it was no recipe. I just put it together. The secret to that dish, you know what it was?
No.
Tomato sauce. I added a little bit of tomato sauce. And it was yum. It was a wholesome meal, right?
Yes.
That was a plant-based meal, Gary. Have you quit eating meat altogether?
No. It's hard. It's one of the hardest things.
Which meat are you eating?
Every once in a while, I'll have chicken.
What's once in a while?
Probably like once a week to twice a week, depending. But like I stopped eating eggs. That was like one of the
What
things
about the dairy? What about the dairy?
The only thing I put dairy now in is my coffee. I don't even have milk at my house.
Why don't you use almond milk like the one I use?
Okay.
Use that. There's Orgain. Use the Orgain that I put that in. Try that. So I'm altering we did this very slowly. So that's his goal. But he's committed. I got him to do this on air. That was my way of getting him to make a commitment. And you got to be confident, and you got to frame those resolutions. Read my article if you want to know more. It's well researched. You'll find that my articles are not that hard to read. It's entitled Effective and Proven Ways to Help Keep Your New Year's Resolutions. Here's some numbers to call.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Don't forget, subscribe to our Let's Talk Nutrition page on YouTube. You subscribe to the page, you can go through all the shows and catch them live. Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you know that we have an app?
Of course I know that. We were in a meeting yesterday. That's what we talked about. We're going to improve that app.
There's coming improvements to the app. There's 3 things you can do on the app. 1, you can contact you directly. 2, you can see the archived videos on the app.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, there's a discount on there specifically to the app. So you can go on the app and download it and get a discount.
On your supplements. It'll send you to the Vitamin Discount Center website.
Yes.
We're also, yesterday in a meeting, we're going to have IT. The boys in the IT are smart. they're going to make it so you can watch the show live on the app. We don't have that function yet. It's coming soon. There was a study that that's trending right now, and it's not, it's not shocking, but it reinforces what we know. Context is everything. The food culture in which we live is terrible. Terrible? Terrible. It's a processed food culture, dominated with foods loaded with salt, sugar, and fat, and chemicals, the names of which you cannot even pronounce. There is one particular food, it's really a drink category, that has been one of the usual suspects at the scene of the obesity crime. Sweetened sugared drinks, sweetened sugared beverages. They're called SSBs. A new review and analysis of the recent studies, they make the argument in that article that regular consumption of sugar-sweetened drinks leads to obesity and overweight in both children and adults. Just that one food category. It's not only the drinks themselves. It's like smoking. When people smoke, what do they usually do when they smoke? Drink coffee, drink alcohol. They're doing other bad habits as well. Consuming sugar-sweetened beverages, these SSBs, it's not just the drink alone. It's what goes with the drink. The cookies, the crackers, the cakes, the chips, the coal, whatever the children, adolescents, and adults consume with the sugar-sweetened beverages. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control, 36.5% of all adults are obese, better than a third, and 17% of all children and adolescents are obese in our country. 17%. 25% of children are overweight and obese. That whole category together. These sugar-sweetened beverages are the bane of our nutritional destiny in this country. I always, I don't know. And it's spreading across the globe. Wherever sugar-sweetened beverages are imported into a food culture in other countries, that is the road to ill health. As I say, the road to ill health is paved with good intentions. Context is everything. Where you live, the food culture in which you are situated, you and I, in this country, those things don't help. We come back, we'll have Neil Levin at the top of the hour. Welcome to the 2018 edition of Let's Talk Nutrition. Happy New Year. I hope you're off to a good start for this new year with your health, wellness, and well-being. We'll try to help as much as we can. Glad you're there. I'm glad to be here. Stephen is on the other side of the glass. Gary's on this side of the glass with me. And two good producers. Steady as she goes, man. I never worry. And the show is, people think, oh, you just walk in a room and you key a mic. Nah, doesn't work like that. A lot goes into putting this up onto the stage, if you will. We are coast to coast, including Hawaii, and we're global. We stream this show across the globe every day. In addition to the terrestrial radio in over 60 markets, close to 65 markets now. And we'd get about 30,000 hits a day now on the stream. That's worldwide. That's 1 million a month. So it's a huge platform, and we're on social media. We're connected all over the place, and we're going to even do better. A lot of people that listen to this show just listen on the radio. In fact, the majority of people listen on the radio. And everybody thought radio was going to fade away with all this high-end technology. Guess what? Listenership for radio is as strong now as it was decades ago. People love radio. And so do I. And we love our affiliates, and we thank them, each and every one of them, big, small, and everything in between. Support your local radio station that airs this show. They're doing a great service, at least we'd like to think. And you can connect to us. Connection is your pathway on this show to better health. Here's how to do it.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Or follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition or on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition. Don't forget, we're also on Twitter at LTN Radio. That's the only thing that we're LTN about, so LTN Radio.
And I can't say anything about it yet until it's all formulated, but we're working on a big project involving LTN and expansion of it as a media company. I'll tell you more about that as the year progresses. We're working on it. Got a whole crew on this, everything from IT to marketing to media. The media, Gary's media manager, as well as a producer for the show. So we're working on it. I'll let you know. My guest today, Neil Levin, is from Chicago area. I bring this up because, as it turns out, Chicago, of all places on the planet, you would, if I asked you to guess, pick the number one city for best active lifestyle. It turned out to be Chicago. Portland was second, Frisco was third, San Diego fourth, Seattle fifth, Madison sixth. None of those are warm. New York seventh, Denver eighth, Boise 9, and number 10, Minneapolis. None of them is a warm city climate at all. None. San Francisco's not warm. I've been there gazillion of times. I'm always bringing a jacket. No matter what time of the year, it's crazy. All of them are mostly cold cities. How could that be? How do they maintain an active lifestyle? It's the built environment that I discussed earlier in the show today. That built environment. It's critical. Neil probably knows a lot about Chicago and the built environment. By built environment, that includes, do you have sidewalks? Do you have recreational areas? For example, parks and trails. You have parks and trails where you live? You have private recreation facilities anywhere near your neck of the woods? How about pedestrian and bicycle facilities? You have any of those? You have a nice aesthetic outdoor environment, trees and shrubbery, greenery. It's nice to be out there. What about walkable? Is it a walkable community? I could live in downtown Chicago. Downtown Chicago is very livable.
By the Loop?
Yeah, even more so than Manhattan. I could live in Manhattan, even as frenetic as it is. Chicago is not as frenetic as Manhattan, but it's busy. But downtown Chicago is very livable. Do you have pedestrian and bicycle facilities where you live? All of those things make a difference. That's what I believe, how Chicago got to be number one as having the best active lifestyle. Right now, it's 15 degrees in Chicago, for heaven's sakes. They're not tooling around on bicycles, running around in shorts and tank tops and whatnot. It's brutally cold. But they're moving. They have an active lifestyle. Where's the location of your workplace and your school? You have to drive a gazillion miles away, sit in a car for an hour and a half? Or can you even walk to work, walk to school? Or it's a short drive. All of those things make a difference. Those top 10 cities for best active lifestyle are basically, the weather is on average cold. I mean, tough. It's tough there in the wintertime. It's very cold on average. Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, San Diego is the warm city one. Seattle, Madison, New York, Denver, Boise, Idaho, number 9, 10, Minneapolis. The aforementioned Neil Levin is my guest. He is with Now Foods in charge of nutrition there. Neil, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition for 2018. He's the second guest for 2018.
Yes, he is.
Congratulations. We love to have you back, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's our 50th anniversary at Now Foods, so we're very proud of that. And I want to ask you, for exercise, does shivering, shoveling snow, and dodging bullets count?
Well, you do all three of those in Chicago, man. Yeah, it does. I guess it does. What do you make of that? Chicago was, my hypothesis is that I think that their built environment accommodates people's desire and motivation to be physically active and active. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. There's been a lot of bike paths built. The lakefront is beautiful. Back in the 80s, I used to ride my bike to work along the lakefront when I worked in Lincoln Park area. So, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of health clubs. People can get out and walk if they're in the city and not in a bad neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chicago certainly has had its share now of this horrible crime rate, the shootings and killings. And I mean, it's just gangs. I don't know. I guess that's really driving the city crazy. They're trying to get that resolved. It's very difficult, isn't it?
It is. It's mostly the gangs in certain areas, and they're just spraying bullets around the neighborhood. If they had gun expertise classes, marksmanship classes, maybe it wouldn't be half as bad.
You know what? That's ironic and paradoxical, but there's probably some truth to that. You make it so forbidden that it becomes the norm.
My uncle was a police officer in Lincoln Park.
There you go. Famous Lincoln Park, man. There was a group called Lincoln Park. They still around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there. He was there when it was bad, and then it started
getting
changing.
Worse.
No, it got better.
Got better.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you here. What did you have on your mind? I saw the booking sheet, but I'll leave it to you to tell the audience. What did you want to talk about?
I want to talk about there's certain fats that won't make you fat, and they're good to eat.
There you go. Sign me up. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. Neil Levin is my guest. He's a great guest, always prepared, always informed. He has, I never worry about him, man. It just makes I can sit back and I can relax with you and learn from him. I enjoy it. LTN, Coast to Coast. Welcome back. Welcome to the 2018 edition of Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. Now Foods, nutrition for optimal wellness. Now, that's one thing that now means. There's another meaning for that acronym too, isn't there? Neil?
Yes. Now originally stood for natural, organic, and wholesome, and we still do. We just have another phrase associated with the name.
Natural, organic, and wholesome. That doesn't describe any of my relationships. Consequently, I'm not married. But that's the story for another day. So fats that don't get you fat and they're yum to eat. Is that a pork chop?
Well, not so much.
Not so much. Okay. I don't eat meat anyways. You and I are not meat eaters, but what fats do you have in mind, and why are they so good for us, and why should we embrace them, Neil?
Well, let's give a little background first
Sure.
of all. That there's a lot of fat in the American diet, and a lot of those fats are not healthy. And if any of your listeners have had their gallbladder removed, for example, that problem that led to it being removed is associated with eating an overabundance of animal fats. That is stressing that system and leading to cholesterol, et cetera, blocking the ductwork in the gallbladder itself and leading it to get inflamed, and they want to remove it.
So what do you think? I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have the impression that the surgeons are quick to remove that gallbladder. And I always tell people, make sure you get a second opinion. Why are they so quick to remove it, man?
Well, they want to remove something that's causing a problem instead of figuring out what's causing the problem and trying to correct it at the source. And in some cases, it's the diet. In most cases, it's going to be the diet. Occasionally, it's going to be some congenital issue that is genetic or some damage that can't be solved nutritionally. But in most cases, nutrition is going to do it, and converting to a mostly plant-based diet is usually going to do the trick for these folks if they have the time to make that transition.
Or the inclination, right?
Of course, yes. You're right.
Is it possible for the gallbladder to be backed up or otherwise diseased and dysfunctional and still rescue it?
It is. There are gallbladder flush formulas, and there's strategies. People are doing olive oil and various other herbs and botanicals, things to try to get things moving through the gallbladder. They're using dandelion root. They're using artichoke. They're using milk thistle and various other things to try to improve the flow of things through the gallbladder and avoid it getting clogged up. So there are botanical and herbal strategies. There are various oils like the olive oil and things, and switching from high cholesterol fats to low cholesterol fats.
I didn't mean to take you off track, but because I know there are a lot of people listening and watching the show have gallbladder issues. I would encourage you, if you do, before you have them remove it, get a second opinion. Make sure, because life after gallbladder removal is not a picnic. No matter what they tell you, I'm telling you, I've seen this so many times. It's difficult because that gallbladder is involved in, as Neil's alluding to and suggesting to you, in the digestion of fat. It's critical. And without that gallbladder, you're going to have a hard time. But go ahead, Neil.
Well, you're right. And just to continue on this topic for another minute or so, the gallbladder helps you absorb fats and fat-soluble nutrients. So when you're taking a multiple vitamin, when you're taking vitamins A and D and K and trying to absorb things, when you're trying to absorb things like curcumin or milk thistle or a number of other things, quercetin, a lot of supplements people are taking. Some of them, alpha-lipoic acid, require fats to help them absorb. So if you don't have the right mechanism for absorbing fat, and the gallbladder and the bile from the gallbladder is part of that strategy, you might have to take bile supplementally, like we would have in our super enzymes formula. You might have to take MCT oil and other oils that are well absorbed to help compensate that you don't have the full absorption mechanism for fats.
So go ahead and continue your narrative, please, about these fats that would, in fact, be good for the gallbladder, be good for the systems of the body, cardiovascular system, for your brain, for your digestive tract, and so on.
Well, the exception to the animal fats being potentially bad here are the fish oils, including krill oil. And those are healthy oils that actually help offset some of these problems. And you could also do vegetable oils. Olive oil is very good. Some of the other oils like black currant and borage and evening primrose oil are very good. You're not going to do a lot of them, but they're great supplementally. And CLA is another one.
Conjugated linoleic acid?
Exactly. That helps with body composition and is a very great oil to take that you normally get from animal foods.
Okay, when we come back, we'll discuss those individually, if you like, and the merits of them, and now Food's offering of them in their constellation of dietary supplements. Your gallbladder is a small pear-shaped sac, not very big. It's located right under your liver, right? And its main function is to store bile produced by your liver, and then that bile is passed through a duct, which gets clogged at times and empties into the small intestine. That bile helps you digest fats in your small intestine. Life would be miserable without it, and it is.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
What's the difference between a car mechanic and a surgeon? Car mechanic wants to put new parts in. The surgeon wants to take parts out, including your gallbladder. Be mindful. Get a second opinion. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Before you have that gallbladder yanked out of your body, there are ways maybe to rescue it. Now, just be mindful of this. Know this, that when that gallbladder duct gets clogged, it can become necrotic. The tissue can become necrotic or gangrene. That can be very dangerous. That's why they want to remove it. But if you can unclog that duct, unblock it, then you're back in business. My Neil is Neil Levin. He talked about ways and things to consider from a dietary supplement, from a herbal perspective, and from a natural approach, if you will, natural medicine approach. Now, it's got to be based on science, not tomfoolery or nonsense. Neil, welcome back.
Maybe we need some Neil foolery instead of some tomfoolery.
There you go. Neil foolery is good. You mentioned some oils that you thought would serve people very well. Would you like to spend a little time talking about them?
Sure. As we are trying to cut fat out of the diet, because this is diet season, of course, we don't want to throw out the good with the bad. We want to make sure that we don't start getting cravings, because we have certain oils we need, and there's a small amount of these healthy fats in bad foods that have oils that aren't so healthy. So we're going to crave those foods to get that tiny bit of good if we don't eat the good ones by themselves.
Gotcha.
And that's something I've found over the years, that sometimes you're craving something because it contains a little bit of something you need.
Right.
And it contains a whole lot of something you don't need, and you take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
So MCTs, you hear bodybuilders and people wanting to lose weight always talking about MCTs. What are MCTs?
MCT are two medium-chain triglycerides. They're fats that you find in especially saturated fat sources such as coconut oil and palm oil are the most common sources. And if you're eating coconut oil, maybe 12 to 17% of that oil are these two fatty acids, caprylic and capric acid, C8 and C10 for any chemists out there. These are the ones that are concentrated in the MCT oils. And the advantage of them is they don't require pancreatic lipase to absorb. The enzyme from the pancreas that you normally need to absorb fats is not required for this fat, so it's readily absorbed. It helps it absorb better if you don't have a gallbladder, as we mentioned earlier, with containing bile. It is a great transporter for fat-soluble nutrients to carry them from the digestive tract to the bloodstream and the liver.
And when Neil says nutrients, he's talking about vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E. These are fat-soluble micronutrients that you need. They're fat-soluble, and they do better with fat, right?
Yes, fat-soluble means they only absorb if you have fats. You take a multi on an empty stomach, you're not going to get a whole lot of good out of the fat-soluble portion of it, your vitamins A, D, E, and K.
And you said 17% of coconut and palm oil is made up of, or is it just coconut oil, made up of caprylic and what was the other oil?
Capric acid.
I mean,
12 and
fat.
17%. Yes.
17%. Caprylic and, say it again.
Capric acid.
Capric, okay.
And it varies. It might be as low as 12%, but somewhere in that range. And so if you're getting the pure ones, and these are the ones that don't solidify at room temperature like normal coconut oil. So when you see a liquid coconut oil that's always liquid, they fractionate it. They separate out mostly MCT oils so that they're not going to solidify at room temperature.
Mm-hmm. And do the why do people take them when they're on a diet?
Well, there's a couple reasons. One is that the MCT oil digests well and helps you absorb these nutrients, which are now in a scarce supply as you cut your food supply. MCT oils will not store as fat. You're not going to turn them into fat cells in the body. So you're not going to get fat by eating MCT oil. You are going to get energy because you've got that 9 calories per gram. It's more like 7 or 8 on MCT oil versus other fats. But you're still getting a lot more fat per gram than eating carbs. It acts like a carb in terms of how much energy you get, but you're getting more than double the energy, the calorie. But you're not going to store it as fat. You're going to get quick energy. It helps the brain function better, and it helps keep the body leaner. And people get a lot of energy. When they talk about these X number of hour energy products, people make, for example, bulletproof coffee using MCT oil and coconut oil. And they are claiming to have more sustained energy for hours and hours by making their own natural dairy creamer instead of buying the junky ones that you get in restaurants and things.
Is there saturated fat in caprylic oil? Yes.
No, it does not solidify at room temperature. It's not a saturated fat. It's a
not.
Medium chain, not a short chain fatty acid.
Okay, so it stays. It does not solidify. It stays in a liquid form.
Right.
So that means there are no short chain. There are no short chain saturated fatty acids in there.
Right.
That's good to know. And hence, it would be less inclined to contribute to heart disease.
Right, and because it's not going to form cholesterol as readily, and it's not going to form fat as readily, and people who are substituting MCT oil for other oils in the diet are finding that they have more energy and they're leaner.
So coconut oil and palm oil have caprylic acid in them. Is that what you're saying?
They have caprylic and capric acid. Caprylic's sold as a separate supplement. A lot of these Candida formulas use it. So it's got other benefits as well.
Very good. And the entry from Now Foods, what does it say on the bottle?
We have MCT oil. We sell it plain in 2 sizes. We also sell flavored MCT oil. So if you want to make your own bulletproof coffee or have a flavored spoonful instead of one that's just a bland oil, we have those options. You can get a chocolate mocha or a hazelnut vanilla. We're one of the first companies to come out with flavors to make it more palatable for people who are just taking a spoonful as a supplement or adding it to something like the coffee.
For you chemists out there, the fatty acids found in MCTs are called medium chain fatty acids, M for medium. And they're a triglyceride. Like all triglycerides, MCTs are composed, there's a glycerol backbone, and then there are 3 fatty acids attached to that backbone when you look at the chemical schematic for it. In cases of MCT, 2 or 3 of the fatty acid chains attached to the glycerol are of medium length, hence medium chain triglycerides.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN Health question of the day. I was talking about earlier in the show 2018's best and worst cities for active lifestyle. Here's the question. Which of the following cities was ranked number 1 for best active lifestyle? Which of the following cities? I'll give you a hint even before I give you the answers. Things are never what typically things are not what they seem. All right, here we go. A, Atlanta, Georgia. B, Boston, Massachusetts. C, Chicago, Illinois. Which one of those cities was ranked number 1 for best active lifestyle? A, Atlanta, Georgia. B, Boston, Massachusetts. C, Chicago, Illinois. Things are not what they seem. Here's the number to call to win the $25 supplement gift card.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Neil Levin is my guest. We're talking about fats that are good for you, and you should get them into your diet. And we talked about medium-chain triglycerides. Next on the list, fish oil. The old standby, the perennial. I mean, you can get now even vegan fish oil that's derived from it's a plant source, so no excuses. Go ahead, Neil. Fish oil, what's up with that?
Well, if you're going to a mostly plant-based diet and you're cutting a lot of your meat out of the diet, you're cutting a lot of your sources of omega-3, but not, especially if you're not eating fish. Now, the fish would have to be cold water fish from the ocean to have the omega-3 fats that we're talking about. Supplements are safer than eating fish because the mercury content is typically bound to the protein in fish and is not carried into the oil. So you have these purified, much safer things to take daily where there are cautions in some cases for eating certain kinds of fish, and pregnant women and things like that have extra cautions there. You don't have those cautions for the fish oil. Fish oil is going to provide what you need.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. At Now Foods, you have a number of entries for people to fish from, right?
Yes. We've got dozens of variations of fish oil, different strengths, capsules with different coatings. We have krill oil, different ratios of EPA, DHA for people who want to get technical on the...
What's the highest potency fish oil product you have?
We have one that's 500 milligrams of EPA and 250 milligrams of DHA per soft gel, and we have a reverse ratio that's 500 DHA, 250 EPA for people who want more DHA for the brain, etc.
Which of the first one, what's it say on the bottle?
It's called Ultra Omega 3.
And what was the second one with more DHA?
The second one is our DHA 500.
That's what it says on the bottle?
Right. Okay.
So for the brain, the docosahexaenoic acid, the brain loves it. So that DHA, that product is really good. It's high in omega-3s, and so is the Ultra. But it has, an even distribution of EPA, DHA?
Well, no, it's a 3-to-2 ratio.
3 to 2.
500 to 250.
Okay.
No, 2 to 1, I'm sorry.
Okay, good enough. All right, next on the list, you mentioned GLA. What is GLA?
GLA is a type of fatty acid that you can make from vegetable oils using a certain enzyme called delta-6 desaturase that's magnesium dependent. So the more fats you eat and the less magnesium you eat, the less likely you are to actually make those fats in the body. Those are the ones that are very good for dry eyes, for dry skin, for hormonal balance in the body, especially women.
Mm-hmm. Now, is GLA it's gamma, by the way, GLA means gamma linolenic acid. Is that high in omega-6 or omega-3?
That's an omega-6, but it's not pro-inflammatory like a lot of the omega-6 fats are.
That's interesting. And why would somebody want to, again, what would, people tell me, I said, why take GLA? And I say, why do you do that? And they can't answer me.
For most people, the omega-3, the fish or flax oils are going to do what they need. But some people have very dry skin. They have these hormonal imbalances. They've got inflammatory issues that won't resolve. They have dry eyes. And sometimes they need a certain form of omega-6, this higher form called GLA, in order to balance the body.
Then we have CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. What's up with CLA?
In nature, you get that by eating foods that have been fermented by animals. For example, cows that have the multiple stomachs we all have heard about. And they're actually fermenting some of these things and changing the fats in the process and making CLA. So you're getting a little bit of CLA in milk or things like that from ruminant animals. But if you're not eating those foods, where are you getting it from? If you're a vegan, for example, you're not getting your CLA from the diet. You can get it that's converted from sunflower oil in a manufacturing facility, and it mimics what you would get from that diet. Now, CLA has been shown to have non-inflammatory effects. It doesn't promote inflammation. And people who take it for over a year are getting leaner bodies than people who are taking other vegetable oils.
Let's go to Clearwater, Florida. Robert, which city was designated as #1 with best active lifestyle? Was it Atlanta, Georgia, Boston, Massachusetts, or Chicago, Illinois?
Chicago.
There you go. What a wonderful town. We're in business. Congratulations. Happy New Year, Roberto. Congratulations on winning a $25 supplement gift card. Thank you for the serenade. We appreciate that. And Neil, thank you for your educational effort on the show. We always learn something from you. I always say that, and because we do, and we appreciate it. Now Foods. Go to their website, nowfoods.com. Their website is fabulous. They got more products there than I have sense. I mean, you can spend the whole day there. Yeah. Take care of yourself, Neil. My best to you and your family in 2018, the health and wealth that all you deserve, you and your wife and your family, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Be healthy, my friend.
Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Remind yourself, your health is your wealth, and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you.
Don't be stressed out or anxious. Take Hempanol, the only raw CO2 hemp extract available. It's 100% organic with wild